Welcome to our sacred centering time. Allow the bell to allow you to come to a place of stillness and quiet in this present moment. Maybe closing your outer eyes or stopping still wherever you are. Noticing your breath and breathing here. Just for a few cycles of breath. Noticing where the inhale begins and where the exhale begins. The breath is always our bridge that brings us back to the present moment. Our breath is also the breath of God that breathes us. The energy at the back of the breath is the life force that moves throughout this whole universe. Matters not what we call this. God, Goddess, life force, love. So can you just feel the energy of who you are beyond this body? And in our sacred centering space today, I'd like to share the sacred words from Thich Nhat Hanh on peace. Let us be at peace with our bodies and our minds. Let us return to ourselves and become holy ourselves. Let us be aware of the source of being common to us all and to all living things, evoking the presence of the great compassion. Let us fill our hearts now with our own compassion. So I invite you to take your hand and place it over your heart. Feel your compassion for yourself, towards others, and towards all living beings. Notice your heart and your breath here, expanding and contracting. And so now let us pray that we ourselves cease to be the cause of suffering to each other. With humility and with awareness of the existence of life and of the sufferings that are going on around us, we now in this moment practice the establishment of peace in our hearts and on earth. So let's spend about a minute here in this sacred centering time, extending our compassion from our hearts out into the world. Beginning to lengthen the inhale breath, the exhale breath. Slowly now bringing awareness back to the body, wherever you are. Maybe keeping your eyes closed for just a few moments. Just feeling that peace, that serenity. Thank you all for joining me today. And until we meet each other again, may the God of your understanding hold you safely in the palm of his and her hand. Namaste.
Loved ones, welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here for our Sunday morning connection and devotional time. I'm so glad you are here. What an exciting season we are in right now. With everything that's happening in the world, we are choosing to show up as love, joy, and peace, raising the consciousness of the planet, constantly bringing a higher vibration of the truth of the ages, the truth of your divine nature. And let me just say right here from the outset, all of you who are looking for a place where you can feel the sense that you belong, instead of feeling the sensation that you have to fit in, this is a place where you belong. If you are gay, straight, bi, tri, black, Latino, Caucasian, Asian, the list goes on and on and on. Christian, Buddhist, Muslim, Hindu, Jewish, whatever your belief system might be. Maybe it's none of those. Maybe you're an agnostic. You have a question, or even an atheist, and you believe you figured out that there's no God, but you love the interconnection of quantum physics, maybe in neuroscience, and that power and empowerment of the human ability to really determine the story of your life. You're welcome here. And I say thank you for joining us. And instead of being in places where you feel forced to try to fit in, choose to be in a place where you already belong and you are celebrated. With that out of the way, we have been on quite a journey together. Let's remember where we've come from, what we've been working through. The first week of this Spirit Expressing the biology of belief and the chakra system focus, we looked at the root chakra, and we began grounding ourselves in safety and belonging. We said that fear is not our foundation, that love is, and that safety is not a luxury, it is a birthright. Then we moved from the root chakra to the sacral chakra, and we flowed into creativity. We flowed into play. We started remembering that life is not a duty, but life is a dance. It's like music. And it's that consistent play and that wonderful awareness that feeling good is not a bad thing, that pleasure is not a sin, that it is good for us to enjoy this life that we are living. And in that sacral, when we are actually when we activate it through laughter, through dance, through play, creativity flows. And we start remembering that life is not something to be survived, it's something to be lived. Then we moved on to the solar plexus and the heart chakra. We tied them both together. If you'll remember, we joined fire and garden. We joined willpower with compassion. We learned that when strength and tenderness unite together, willpower becomes love power. And we said that fire that's within your belly, that courage and that courageous space, that boldness is fantastic. But that fire by itself, if it's not checked or managed, can become destructive rather than constructive. So we decided to move that boldness and that courage right here in unison, in the dance of life with the heart chakra, which is where our place of compassion and love and kindness and generosity lies. Last week, we moved on to the throat chakra. We decided to rise into our expression, rise into our truth, and we remembered that our biology is listening, that your cells are eavesdropping on what you're saying, and that words create worlds, and that our voice, it's not meant to divide, it is meant to invite, and that our words are creative vibration. They're not just, it's not just language, it's vibrational frequency. And now today, I'm asking us to rise together into the third eye. It's called the Ajna chakra. This is the seat of higher perception. This chakra really whispers or speaks to us that the real shift, please hear this, the real shift isn't what you see, it's how you see. You remember on Thursday night during our midweek connection, we talked about how we're looking at October as an optimization month. How you see something determines how something shows up in your life. It's the observer effect. And if you were sitting in a congregation right now, I would ask you to turn to somebody and tell them it's not what you see, it's how you see. So I'll ask you to type that into the comments. If you don't mind, make that affirmation. It's not really what I see, but it's how I see. That's the shift. That's the importance. So when we're talking about perception, it reminds me of a story of something that occurred with me. And look, when we first moved to Florida, because we had animals, we had wildlife in Georgia, of course we did, but I started seeing reptiles, lizards everywhere. And I'm not talking about little bitty lizards. I saw little bitty lizards, but I'm talking about some big hawking lizards. And so one night I remember, because I was thinking about perception, one night I remember stumbling into the restroom about half asleep. It was about 2 o'clock in the morning. And I went into the bathroom, and there was a night light that was on that caused a faint glow. And there it was in all its glory, a giant lizard on the wall. And you guys, I'm half asleep, and I swear to you, I saw claws and tail and teeth, and I thought the thing was going to breathe fire. My body tensed up, my heart started racing, because I'm not like typically scared, but this thing was huge. I was ready to fight a dragon at 2 o'clock in the morning in my underwear, you know what I'm saying? But then I squinted and I leaned in a little closer, and it wasn't a lizard at all. It was the shadow of a towel that was hanging crooked on the rack. But family, I'm telling you, the dragon never existed, but my nervous system reacted like it did. That's what perception does. That's what perception does. Towels become dragons. Shadows become threats. And we spend so much of our lives fighting battles that were never real because of our perception. Say this with me. Perception is not reality, it's projection. Perception is not reality, it is projection. And Bishop Pearson used to say all the time, perception may not be the ultimate, perception is the ultimate reality, whether it's the ultimate truth or not. But the way I'm perceiving, how I'm seeing life, determines how I'm receiving life. I've mentioned to you before, but the perception determines reception. And then that reception determines my conception, what I conceive. And as a result, I'm going to birth that out into the world. You know, if you look at this from a science and belief standpoint, Bruce Lipton, and of course we've been looking at his book, The Biology of Belief. Bruce Lipton, he puts it this way. He says that beliefs act like filters on a camera. And those filters change how we see the world, and therefore how we react to the world. In other words, I'm going to say your eyes are not cameras, but they are projectors. They're projecting. They're not snapping a photograph. They're not just receiving images. They're actually projecting from the mind. The brain receives millions of bits of data every single second, but only processes about 50 consciously. Think about that. Think about that. Science tells us that our brain captures millions of bits of data per second, but it can only process about 50 consciously. That means that most of what you and I see is what the brain is wanting us to see. And I'll say it this way. It means that most of what you see is your brain filling in the blanks with your beliefs. That's why I would say that's why the placebo effect works. The body heals because the mind believes And the nocebo effect works as well. People feel sick because they expect harm. This is a proven science. This is not semantics. I'm not making this stuff up. It's provable in science that the nocebo effect, it actually works in the reverse to placebo in terms of that people feel sick because they expect harm. Your nervous system doesn't ask, is this true? It asks, what lens am I looking through? And it really asks your subconscious mind to help it decipher what it believes you want to think you're seeing. It's not asking if it's true or not. What do we believe about this is what it's asking. It's asking, what do you want to see? And then it's asking, what do we actually believe about what we're seeing? Jesus said, your eye is the lamp of your being. And if your perception is clear, your whole being will be filled with light. Now, if I'm going to quote that the King James way, it would say, if the eye be single, the whole body or the whole being is filled with light. Essentially, though, what it's saying is that your eyes are the lamp of your being, and if your perception is clear, then your whole being is going to be filled with light. Rumi said something like this. He said, close both eyes to see with the other eye. Close both eyes to see with the other eye. We're still talking about the power of perception through the third eye. The Upanishads say that as is your vision, so is your world. We know that we've been told over and over again, we don't see the world as it is, we see it as we are. So my beliefs are the filter. My beliefs are determining how I'm computing and processing what is coming into the image capturing lenses of my body. Dr. Wayne Dyer said it this way. He was really noted for this particular comment. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Notice he didn't say change what you're looking at. He said change the way in which you look at that thing. See, every tradition really agrees that awakening is not about new scenery, it's about new sight. Even Jesus said, be born again so that you can see, perceive the kingdom or the authority of God that he had already said was within you. So every tradition agrees that awakening is not about you moving from here to there and having a different scenery. It's about new sight or new way of seeing. See, when I'm in the attitude of repentance, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm constantly rebooting and reevaluating my belief systems because my belief systems directly affect how I'm receiving and perceiving the world and life. And in quantum terms, it's called the observer effect. I want to share with you a story about the wounded lens. And it'll just take a couple of minutes to share that story with you. I was actually was counseling and coaching with someone who'd been betrayed by a close friend. And after that betrayal, badly betrayed, but after that betrayal, every smile all of a sudden was suspicious. Every act of kindness looked like manipulation. See, that person was not seeing new people. They were seeing the old betrayal replayed on every face they came in contact with. Here's the thing, when your lens is cracked, everything looks broken. Everyone looks broken. There's no clarity. And so when you experience betrayal, you experience trauma, this has a tendency to fracture the lenses of our being. And if we don't intentionally heal it, if we don't intentionally make conscious what is unconscious, we're going to continue to live this life by mistake, on accident, not with intention. and then our whole life is going to look like an accident. So clearing the third eye is about polishing the lens so you can see what's true. One of my favorite asks of the universe in prayer, affirmative prayer, and even in petitionary prayer, one of my favorite prayers to pray is, pure presence, show me what is real. Show me what is real. I don't want to be locked by the real, R-E-E-L. I don't want to be incarcerated and limited by the R-E-E-L. So show me the R-E-A-L. Show me what's real. And speaking of the real, not being trapped in it, how do we rewrite the real? Well, Dr. Bruce Lipton's research shows that your cells, they literally shift based on your perception. In other words, matter is directly affected by how it's observed. Perception directly influences reception, but it shifts matter. It's the observer effect. Trauma makes the body replay the horror film even when the theater is empty. But higher perception says, I don't have to keep watching this movie over and over and over again. I can change the reel anytime I get ready. I'm going to see the reel, R-E-A-L, and I'm going to rewrite the reel, R-E-E-L, because perception is the director's chair. You get to choose the frame, and you get to choose how life gets framed. And as I've said to you before, I know maybe too many times, but I want to say it again. If you don't frame your life, life will frame you and more than likely sentence you after your trial. So it's up to us to frame this life. Now I want us to take a moment and think about this. These are some practical ways to practice higher seeing. Number one, visualization. We know that athletes imagine the race and their muscles fire as if they're running. Your body responds to imagined reality. This is a fact. See yourself whole, and your biology is going to follow suit. See yourself happy, and your biology is going to follow suit. See yourself healthy, wealthy, and wise. See yourself in meaningful, loving, fulfilling, generous, fun relationships, and your biology is going to follow that perception, because your perception is affecting your reception. That means it's affecting how you and what you attract into your life. So that's a practical way to exercise this. I'm serious. See yourself as healthy. Sit in visualization meditation. I'm telling you, this works. See yourself when you're seated in visualization meditation. See yourself as that fulfilled individual that you really want to be. And then draw that future you who is whole, complete, wealthy, healthy, rich, happy. See yourself walking through life, experiencing that way. See how that person that you already are in the quantum field, see how that person breathes, how that person speaks, how that person interacts with other people. See that, then embody the feeling as if it is already done. Number two, here's a practical way to shift our life using the third eye power. Re-seeing old stories. Not just rewriting them, but re-seeing them. In fact, I don't know that you'll rewrite them until you can see something different. Watch how a betrayal becomes a doorway. See how a failure becomes a teacher. Re-seeing, it's not denial, it is divine reinterpretation. Somebody write that into the comments. I choose divine reinterpretation. I choose to see a betrayal as a doorway. It was a way either out of a relationship that was not healthy for me, or it was a doorway into a life that's more fulfilled and free. But I refuse to frame it as a bad thing, because when you frame something as a bad thing, you're going to store it away in a file cabinet in your mind that tells you not to go there. When you store it as a teacher, when you store it as a potential thing that can be transmuted into fuel, when you store it in a space where you can gain knowledge and wisdom from it, that's what you're going to glean from it. I see my betrayals as a doorway. I see my failures, perceived failures, as a teacher. As Ram Dass used to say to us all the time, everything and everyone is your teacher. Reseeing is not denial. It is design reinterpretation. Number 3, intuitive decisions. Not just does it make sense on paper, but does this feel aligned with my inner knowing? I'm talking about intuitive decisions, not just because, again, it makes sense on paper, because it looks like it's, organizationally correct. Ask, is this disorganizing my being? Am I organizing the organic out of my life? The organic will always show up as intuition. So I'm making intuitive decisions. Again, not just because it makes sense on paper and the numbers look perfect, but does it feel aligned in my inner knowing? You see, the third eye whispers, trust the vision. Trust the vision. I'm going to ask you, if you will, to take a moment. We're going to go into a little bit of an embodiment practice. I have wanted this whole series to be very practical and to bring it home, bring it into the body, because it's not just about what we think, it's not just about what we say, but it's about what we're feeling. Affirmation without activation does not lead to manifestation, but affirmation plus activation will lead to manifestation. I'm going to invite you now to, if you would, to just close your eyes for a moment and maybe place one finger gently between your eyebrows. Tap gently and slowly. Now receive a deep breath in. Slowly exhale. And with your outer eyes or your physical eyes closed, imagine a violet light blooming right here in the third eye area, the ajna, like a flower opening to the sun. And as you're seeing this opening occur, this beautiful indigo violet light, whisper inwardly, I see with love. I see with clarity. I see with truth. Come on, repeat that after me, if you will. I see with love. I see with clarity. I see with truth. Now, for a moment, bring to mind one area of your life that you know is clouded by fear. Bring that to mind right here, right now. And as you do, watch as soon as that area of your life that seems clouded by fear appears on the screen. See it washed away in light until a new picture arises. Now feel your body relax as the image shifts. Notice how the body is responding. The biology is following suit. As this old thing that was fearful gets washed away by the beautiful indigo light of truth. And your body now relaxes and sees a new image of wishes fulfilled. Receive a deep breath in and let it go. Loved ones, the third eye It's not about predicting the future. It's about choosing how you see this moment. So the miracle is not changing the world. It's changing how you see the world. So this week, cleanse that lens, polish that lens, re-see the story. Trust your inner compass and your inner guidance system, your inner intuition. Friends, when you do, towels stop looking like dragons. Shadows stop looking like threats. And love reveals itself everywhere you go because your perception changes. Your reception also changes. And you get to live a real life, R-E-A-L. And you get to leave the real, R-E-E-L, life. You step into freedom. And this is why it's said in one of the letters from the Apostle Paul, don't be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And this is why Jesus the Christ said, be born again, so that you can perceive the authority, the domain, the territory of the divine within you. Friends, I love you. I'm so grateful for this opportunity we have to move through this together. Next week, we're going to be getting into the crown chakra, but all of this coming week, we're going to be practicing through meditation, through devotion, shining the lens for this third eye so that we can see clearly. We'll be able to, on the other side, sing it, I can see clearly now the rain is gone. I encourage you, keep this eye open, especially during this season. Keep this eye open, and you'll be able to perceive the world differently. And when you change the way you see the world you see will change. All right, friends, I love you so much. Now go and make it a great rest of the week because you can. Peace. Loved ones, thank you so much for joining us today for our devotional service. The ways to give are on the screen right now. You can, of course, text to give. You can utilize our app. You can also go to firstunity.org/give. And on that page, you can actually decide to become an auto giver. That's really what it takes to become a sustaining partner to this ministry. If you believe in what we're doing here, I'm asking you to consider supporting the light that currently is and seeding that light for the future. We continue with our ways to give by offering our P.O. Box, our Cash App, and our QR code for you to scan on the screen. So I want to say a special thank you to everyone who has chosen this community to be a place where you want to give your financial seed. Know that when you're planting that seed, it is going into fertile soil, and you activate the law of circulation in your life. God bless you. Now there is peace on earth, and it has begun with me. Now there is peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Now there is peace on earth. Yes, this is the moment now. With every step I take, yes, this is my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Now there is peace grace on earth, and it has begun with me. And our prayer of protection together, the light of God surrounds us. I am the light. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love. The power of God protects us. I am the power. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. I love you, family. Make it a great Sunday.